Hey guys, you're here if you had a number 1 on your paper for hook and or context. Even if I just wrote hook or I just wrote context, go ahead and listen through at least until the end of the first example so that you know what I expect you to do as you are going through and writing or reviewing your hook. So you should hopefully have this handout. If you don't have it, go back and get it. Pause the video and then that way we can get started. So this says for each of the different types of hooks with context, there's also a claim at the end written in bold or italics. So your claim may have been fine, but there's a claim here anyway, just so you know. Remember, you will select 2 to read, analyze, and annotate in order to mimic the hook with context in that same style. And then I actually have some choices up here for you so that you can tell me which ones you tried out. So notice number 1 is a scenario, 2 is visualize, so using that word imagine, which many of you already do. Focusing on a word. One thing I don't have here is definition. Go ahead and add that. Mrs. McSorley teaches you definition. I teach you focus on a word. It's the same thing. Sometimes I don't like to say definition because sometimes we can't go out and find it, especially on testing days. But in the real world, you can find a definition. The last one's descriptive language. So I want to start with the first one. We actually did this together in class once, but I do want to make sure that you guys know some of those different parts that you will see that you will write when you are writing a hook. So this one's dropping the reader into the action. So we've got a thief hides in the shadows waiting to steal a priceless golden necklace from its display case in the dark of night. This one sentence is actually the hook. It's dropping us into the scenario. We're into the action. We can visualize that thief hiding in the shadows, and we know, okay, that they're trying to draw us in. And then it goes straight into context. It says, every day antiques like this object are at risk of being looted and sold off by smugglers. That part right there is actually the problem. Part of context is telling us what the problem is or what the issue is. So we did that right away in this one. Then it says scholars, museum curators, politicians, and scientists have been debating whether or not antiques should be kept in the countries where they are found. So this one's easy again. That's the stakeholders. And all I mean by stakeholders are the people who care, the people who have a say or who are experts or who maybe are affected by this thing, whatever this problem is. Now we have some believe this builds a country's national identity. Others believe it's unsafe to return these artifacts to their countries and would rather see the objects housed in museums. So I believe I taught you that frame, right? Starting with some believe and then saying others. This is just presenting to us the sides. And that's an important thing to do, to start to recognize that, hey, look, there's another opinion out there, but also to say, look, here's mine. And then we go into some of the reasons then. Antiques such as this golden necklace link us to a culture and history that would otherwise be forgotten. So this is actually a reason. I'm not even going to write it because technically that's not even part of context. I think it's part of a 2-sentence claim right there. So that would probably be one of the points that this author makes, is that it links to culture and history. And then we've got obviously the claim. Thus, these ancient objects should not be returned to their countries. Instead, they should be displayed in large museums where they can be secure and accessible to the entire world. So we've got that should or should not statement for those of you who still need help with with claims. So that's kind of what I want you to do. I want you to annotate looking for those parts, and especially this one had all 3, the problem, the stakeholders, and the sides. Those are the things you are going to look for. So I'm actually going to go ahead and annotate this second one. If you want to skip ahead to my example, if you want to see my example, if you've got it, then you can go ahead and end the video and go ahead and work on your hook with context. But same thing with this one. We've got imagine the cardboard pizza and brown vegetables so commonly found in school lunches. This doesn't seem very appealing, and so many students pack their lunches. So again, we've got the hook here, first sentence only, and then this doesn't seem very appetizing. So kids pack their lunches. That's actually the problem. And then you can recognize this list, right? Some parents, athletic coaches, and even students are blah, blah, blah. This right here, those are the stakeholders, right? And then it says they're against the idea of fast food being sold in schools. They believe it will encourage unhealthy habits and contribute to an overall health epidemic. So that right there is one of the sides. And then it says, however, that seems a tad unreasonable, considering most kids will still eat fast food outside of school. Fast food is of no disturbance to the education of children, and the money fast food provides helps pay for school activities. So again, I think this sentence here is the other side. And again, I think, and I'm not going to label it again, I think this is part of a 2-sentence thesis statement or a 2-sentence claim. All right, so I have hook, problem, stakeholders, side, claim. So how do we then mimic that, right? That was our next goal. Remember, you need to select 2, read, analyze, and annotate in order to mimic the hook with context in the same style. Well, I didn't want to have you watch while I write it all out, so I went ahead and wrote it, but we can still label these parts or identify these parts. So I did one with a video game essay. And so I'm going to visualize. I'm going to start with imagine. So my hook that I'm mimicking is imagine the cardboard pizza and brown vegetables commonly found in school lunches. So I just mimicked that same idea. I have that imagine, right? Imagine sitting around for hours moving only your thumbs and eyes. All right. So I kind of mimicked that. I do the same thing, but I use my topic that I'm working with. Then it says, this doesn't seem very appetizing, so many students pack their lunches. So in this next sentence, I need to show the problem. It says, sounds like torture to many, and so we try to stay active. So there I started getting into the idea that this is a problem, right? That if you're sitting around for hours, that's not a good thing, right? And so the rest of us try to stay active. The next thing there was stakeholders. Some parents, athletic coaches, and even students are, and then we bring up the sides. So I have the same thing. Some teens and even adults do this on a daily basis, believing that it is completely healthy to do so. All right, so there is the one side, right, with that stakeholder. And then just as a writer, I'm sitting here and I'm thinking, I have do this and then to do so. I feel like I should say play video games, right? That would have been better right there. So I'm going to go ahead and revise that. So now it says some teens and even adults play video games on a daily basis, believing that it is completely healthy to do so. I like that a lot better. So that was one side. And then remember, this one had another sentence with the other side. So I did the same thing. However, research shows that sitting playing video games is actually incredibly bad for your health. And then I start to get into maybe some reasons or maybe some more on that side. This said fast food is of no disturbance to the education of children, and the money it provides helps pay for school activities. Therefore, schools should not ban fast food, right? So we've got playing video games causes not only health issues, but weight gain as well. So kind of getting into those two of those issues. Therefore, right, I even use the same signal word. Cause and effect signal word. Therefore, parents should limit kids' video game time to a maximum of 30 minutes per night. So I'm kind of bringing one of the other stakeholders in down here, but I have that should or should not statement. Okay. If you have any questions, then please do not hesitate to come talk to me about this. But you need to have 2 different hooks with context that you write in your notebook. And then one of those I'd like you to use in your essay. And then it tells you on the pink sheet what you're supposed to do in order to show me that. I believe you highlighted in green. So happy writing, and I will see your new revised paper soon. Thank you.